Hello, fight fans. BJ Penn back in the news again, involved in another altercation inside and outside of a bar, a return of a UFC legend, a one-night old-school tournament announced, and Justin Gaethje has a few less than courteous words for the notorious one, and puts out a challenge to Conor McGregor as he talks about returning sometime before the end of this year. Everybody, please hit that like button if you like what I do here. If you're new here, make sure and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to ring that bell so you're notified whenever I drop a new video, or go live like for play-by-play reaction this Saturday at 1 p.m. Pacific for Vasily Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell, unification in boxing of the super lightweight championships. Let's jump right into this. First, let's go into a legend returns. Anthony Rumble Johnson has not fought in several years. He was one of the top contenders at light heavyweight, ran into Daniel Cormier a couple times. Not able to get that one over on him, even though he was able to beat Alexander Gustafsson. Never got the fight against Jones. He said he would only fight in the past if it was John Jones at heavyweight. Now manager Ali Abdulaziz has said that Anthony Rumble Johnson will fight in 2020, and he wants a ranked opponent for his first fight. Names thrown out there were Alistair Overeem and Andrei Arlovsky. Of course, he fought Andrei Arlovsky years back in World Series of Fighting at a catchweight, and I'm not sure how many more teeth Andrei Arlovsky is willing to lose at this point. But Rumble Johnson is 35, should still have several good years ahead of him, especially after getting some rest. Now let's go into the one-night tournament, and that's what it is, a one-night tournament on the eve of Dustin Poirier challenging Khabib Nurmagomedov for the lightweight championship of the world. Invicta FC will have a women's flyweight one-night tournament for the championship. This should be very exciting. Several names have been announced and several have been flipped. There was a couple that weren't able to make it, a couple of replacements. We'll have updates on that in the future, but I definitely plan on doing a live stream for that the Friday before UFC 242. Now let's talk about Justin Gaethje and Conor McGregor. Justin Gaethje usually does his talking with his fists in the cage, and he talks loudly. If that's how he talks loudly, he talks violently. I think he's one of the most dangerous men on the planet, and I think he's the most entertaining fighter at 155 right now, if not in the entire UFC. Now, he had some words about Conor McGregor, talked about how he was upset that Conor McGregor was still ranked number 3. He doesn't understand how this is possible when Conor has fought once in the last 2.5 years inside the UFC, which of course was a loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov. And he said he's seen that video of Conor punching that old man, and Justin Gaethje, to quote him, said, "Yes, of course, I want to F him up." You gotta love Justin Gaethje. That guy is extremely entertaining inside the cage, and I like now that there's a little bit of banter outside of the cage, and I think everything is just, it's gonna be legit from that guy. I don't think there's a fake bone in his body. He plays this game with his heart, and he's quickly became one of the biggest stars in the UFC, I believe, and definitely one of my favorite fighters out there. Now, last but not least, let's go into this bar fight with BJ Penn. So a couple of months ago, BJ Penn had been in an altercation at a bar, And he got into it with a bouncer. I guess he'd been drinking too much. The bouncer was trying to get him out of there. And BJ Penn wrestled the guy to the ground, mounted him. I think it had the triangle in and was basically holding the guy against his will, just holding him still until, somebody was able to get BJ off of him or someone talk BJ into getting off of the guy. Now, this is a different altercation. BJ Penn's, his lawyer says that this was an acquaintance. The acquaintance had gotten drunk and had punched BJ Penn. There are videos out there. You can see BJ Penn being punched and floored several times. And then the lawyer said BJ was forced to defend himself, where the fight continued outside of the bar and the club. So second altercation in 2 months for BJ Penn. As far as in bars, his wife has filed restraining orders against him, ex-wife. Now I believe that's finalized. Ex-wife, and she cited domestic, verbal, and physical abuse. Everyone has their day in court, but it is not looking good for BJ Penn right now, as he's looking to get a finale fight against Nick Lentz. Dana White said he would do one more fight for BJ, but if he keeps getting in this kind of trouble with the issues the UFC has had with Conor McGregor, with John Jones, and others, you have to wonder now if the UFC is really going to want to go into this business. And ESPN of, this much controversy can be a good thing, but you don't want to be a league full of criminals. You got Greg Hardy, who's had his accusations against him. You got John Jones, who has been in and out of the courtroom, as well as Conor McGregor, and then several lesser-known fighters involved in DWI accidents, domestic abuse, and different things. We definitely don't want that reputation, I think, for the sport. I don't want that reputation for the sport. But BJ Penn was not arrested again, so, I don't know if that's the privilege of being in Hawaii and being BJ Penn. I imagine it probably is. They know who he is. He's from a wealthy family, and I don't know that anybody else gets away with that. Maybe they're a little more lax over there, though. I don't know. What are you guys most excited about coming up? Are you most excited about Anthony Rumble Johnson's return in 2020? How about Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor, that possible matchup? I think that's an incredible matchup. BJ Penn's return against Nick Lentz, and maybe he finally gets a victory so he can retire on a win. That's what he says he wants to do. Or is it the Invicta FC one-night flyweight tournament? Usually I don't end up watching the tournaments and the events for Invicta FC, but this one definitely sparks my interest with the old school style tournament. But let me know what your thoughts are there down below on all of this or anything else MMA or boxing related. Of course, like I said, we will be live on Saturday for Vasily Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell, two of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world looking to unify boxing's super lightweight world championship. Until next time, as always, I love you, I respect you, and I'll see your fine asses later.